July 16th. It's a pleasure to have you. Grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. Yesterday I told you that the sum of all information in the universe is always the same. It only differs in the way that it merges. Thus, once you got all the information about a system in one constellation, you'll be able to predict the entire future and past of a system. That's what's called conservation of information. Thanks to the limits of our being, though, we don't have access to all the information of the entire system in any given moment. So we perceive the present to distinguish itself from the past by a more of available information. We also have an expectation that the future holds even more information. This asymmetry is what we call the error of time. Where does this asymmetry come from? Well, I answered that yesterday as well. We think of us as an omniscient outside observer, omniscient from moment to moment, while in reality we are pretty much a nutshell in the ocean, driven around by the currents. What I mean to ask is, why do constellations change? Why do all things in the universe seek to connect and to connect in ever bigger patterns? And the answer is the second law of thermodynamics. Where there's a second law, there must be a first one. The first law of thermodynamics simply says energy is constant. But it can never be added. Energy can change, but it can never be added or last. Since energy is how information is stored, there is a direct link between the first law of thermodynamics and the conservation of information. The second law of thermodynamics then says something about how we can expect energy to change. Over time, in a closed, isolated system, or the universe as a whole, because that's a closed, isolated system, energy and thus information will become ever more disorganized, random. That's called the entropy of the system will increase. An example would be the way the sun supplies us with energy and the earth then emits it into space. It's not the most intuitive thing, but the first thing to know about the energy balance is that it is at zero. Earth gets as much as it gives. And then again, it does make sense. If we got more than we give, Earth would burn up very quickly. Emitting more than comes in would result in freezing temperature. Who does want that? So, what does the sun really give us if it's not energy per se? A constant supply of low energy. It's like dope. A constant supply. For every one high-frequency UV light photon, ultraviolet, we get from the sun, Earth emits 20 low-frequency infrared light photons. All information packed into one box is far more orderly than the same information chopped up and repackaged into 20 boxes. Not least because the way this information is organized into the 20 boxes doesn't follow any rules. Why is this important? The second law of thermodynamics says that in the universe as a whole, entropy will increase over time. The Earth, as a part of the universe, can't escape the trend. But just as we can clean up our house and thus decrease entropy for the moment in that closed but not isolated system, Earth, as a closed but not isolated system, can temporarily be tidied. That's what UV light in, infrared light out represents. The increase of entropy is slowed down. Again, why is that important? There's another definition for entropy given by Boltzmann. According to him, entropy represents the number of ways in which the fundamental constituents of a system can be rearranged while the system from the outside still looks the same. Here think of coffee and milk. Coffee and milk by themselves have just so many ways where molecules can rearrange and they still look the same. Not very much. When you mix coffee and milk, there are a lot more ways how the molecules could mix and still have the same color, look the same from the outside. So that's what Boltzmann said there. Increasing entropy boost means increasing the number of possibilities. By supplying Earth with low entropy, the Sun therefore gives us time to test more possible ways to combine information before new possibilities are added, new information. That's more time for viable patterns to emerge that allow their parts to reach their currently lowest energy state while still at an equilibrium with their surroundings, and that themselves are able to become parts of even bigger patterns. What all things in the universe want. Where the breakdown of a large information package didn't work out, didn't lead to this pattern, the parts that are left over from the broken up information are swept out the door. Infrared light. This is, I think, where the new insight that UV light produces a quantum effect in microtubuli of a cell comes in. But that's just another rabbit hole to fall down. For now, it's important to understand that entropy shots from the sun allow us more time to explore. So explore. Astronomers think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into the norm again. Like, comment, share, and as always, follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we'll meet again at the coffee pot.